It's unbelievable how much you don't know about the game you've been playing all your life. Hello, folks. Welcome to Jeremy Hadler's Philly Sports World. I'm your host, Jeremy Hadler, and today I'm going to be talking about the Philadelphia Phillies season preview for the 2024 season. But before we start, make sure you leave a like on this video and subscribe to the channel if you've not done so on this channel. This is my second main channel where I cover the Phillies, Flyers, which I'll be doing a video soon on them, the Philadelphia 76ers, and on my main channel, I'll be mostly covering football and the Packers. This was my first video I ever did for YouTube. It's awesome to come back to this again. But the way I'm going to be doing this video, folks, is I'm going to be going through the pros, the cons, the lineups, bullpen, starting rotation, who I think is going to do well, and how this team can get back to win the World Series. First, we'll be going through our president, Dave Dombrowski, right here, and then we'll get into Rob Thompson a little bit here, folks. So let's start off with Dave Dombrowski, president of the Phillies. He likes to make the moves usually. Usually he's done a pretty good job, and he has a very good resume. He's been to the World Series with almost every franchise he's been with. Now, some of them have not been wins, but he's built championship caliber teams, and he's definitely built one with the Phillies. Where the Phillies play, Citizens Bank Park. It's just a beautiful ballpark. It's a home run ballpark. Right here, you can see Center City of Philadelphia there, so that's a nice view. And every time when the Phillies hit a home run like Schwarber, he'll get a home run of Ring That Bell there, folks, so that will go off. The Jumbotron, it's expanded from this photo a little bit more, so better for us. I always like this here. This was iconic for me, especially as a Phillies fan. Going to games and seeing this, I always thought I always loved it. But this year, they're improving it by getting rid of that and making it all electronic for safety reasons. So I understand that, but I liked it better, the old version. It just made it more cool and more awesome, more authentic. And right here, you got bullpen out here. You got the away up here. The home team for the Phillies is down here. Got the away dugout, the Phillies dugout, as you can clearly see. And right behind here, you got the Phillies with ballpark for kids. Kids are like between innings of the game, they can go over there and go play some with ball. And it's like a mini version of Citizens Bank Park, which is it's a very iconic field to play on, and it's just very fun to go see a game and actually watch the team play. Just a fun, even for the players too, it's very fun watching there. And then you got the pennants out there of like when we won World Series, National League East, the National League, which we won a couple years ago, folks. So a pretty awesome ballpark. Phillies manager, folks, Rob Thompson. He has done a fantastic job he's been with the Phillies. Now, there are some times where I've questioned his decisions, especially the last two playoffs. In Game 6 of the World Series, he took Wheeler out and put in Alvarado against Yordan Alvarez, and Yordan Alvarez hits a home run. That was my big concern there. And then bullpen decision in last year's postseason, which was terrible. Overall, Rob Thompson has done a fantastic job with the Phillies. Ever since Joe Girardi got fired in the middle of the season, Rob Thompson took over. Phillies have been to the postseason. They've done a great job with him. I just like Rob Thompson always, and this is what we need because for many years the Phillies struggled with managers, whether it was Ryan Sandberg, Gabe Kapler, Joe Girardi. It was just abysmal of when are we ever going to get a great manager here like Charlie Manuel? That was the difficulty with the Phillies. But Rob has done a fantastic job, and I look forward to him being the Phillies manager once again. Well, this is going to be pain here for a little bit here, especially for Phillies fans. Last year, the Phillies looked to go back to the World Series. They made it to the postseason, though. Defeated the Miami Marlins the first round. Faced the Braves in the division round once again. They beat them, which I didn't think we could beat them because the Braves were having another historic season of over 100 wins. That was awesome. And you would think when you beat the best team in the National League, you'd think it'd be a lot easier to make it to the World Series. Unfortunately, that was not the case. We lost to the Arizona Diamondbacks in 7 games of the NLCS. They should have took care of business, and it was just unbelievable to watch that. They were so close once again just to get there, and then Diamondbacks upsetted Phillies, and they went on to the World Series just to lose to the Rangers. But it was a great season as a Phillies fan because all you can hope for is really just to make the postseason because this is our second time we've been in the postseason since 2011. So very rare for the Phillies to get in the postseason lately. It was an awesome season, but a bit disappointing towards the end. And now heading into this offseason we are currently in, Phillies made some moves, but not a lot of moves as you have seen from this other offseasons that they've done with signing Bryce Harper, Trey Turner, going after Nick Castellanos, Kyle Schwarber. They didn't go after a big-name guy. And this is where I'm at as of this video because there's a couple free agents still out there, but I don't think the Phillies are going to go after any of them. But the Phillies did in-house decisions a lot. They re-signed Aaron Nola to a 7-year extension for $172 million, which is fantastic. I really liked Aaron Nola a bit, but we're going to talk about him a little bit more because he struggled a little bit during the season and picked up in the postseason. I think he just had to be here. And I think that was a decision for the Phillies to make, especially when he plays at the Phillies Stadium at Citizens Bank Park. He does phenomenal and does a great job there. So I think Nola was a good sign there. Then they also extended Jake Cave, who's a good bench piece to me. Dylan Covey, another relief pitcher. Garrett Stubbs, I always love Garrett Stubbs, just partying up when the Phillies making the playoffs. He's just one of the party animals out there. Another move they made was extending Zach Wheeler just recently to a 3-year deal for $126 million. Yeah, that might be a little bit too much, but as John Middleton, the Phillies owner, once said, I don't mind spending stupid money if I have to win the whole thing. Another move they made, which I thought was a bit surprising, which I don't mind this move, which terms with Whit Merrifield on a 1-year deal. Now, Whit Merrifield is known for versatility. He can play any position except catcher and pitcher. You can put him in any position, plug guy like Emmanuel Sosa, like that kind of player. And also known for the Royals, too, folks. He played most of his career with the Royals. He won a World Series with them in 2015, almost 10 years ago, too. He's not the same Whit Merrifield that we all know he was, but I think he could be a good bench piece for the Phillies. I think he could be. We also re-signed Hoffman, who I liked a lot, Soto, another great player, and Ranger Suarez, our start, and Sosa, as I just mentioned, on a 1-year deal, so I like that. The losses from this offseason, which was Michael Lorenzen, which most Philly fans will know for his no-hitter and his first career start at the Phillies, which was amazing to see that. But Lorenzen didn't do much as what we all expected him to kind of do in the postseason, especially. He didn't live up to it. He did great in the regular season, but it was like the Noah Syndergaard thing last year. We have him for a brief time, and then we just get rid of him like it was a trade. It's mostly a rental piece, and I liked Michael Lorenzen. I kind of wish we kept him, but I understand why we didn't. Craig Kimbrell, most Phillies fans know why, especially in the postseason. He did not perform great. There were times where he just blew the lead in the 9th inning, and the Phillies lost because of that. There was multiple times that just annoyed me, but there were other times where he would just punch it out and get the dub right off the bat. So it was just a 50-50 when you get out of Craig Kimbrell. You never know what you expect out of him. And then, of course, we lost Rhys Hoskins, which Rhys did not play for most of the season because he got hurt in spring training last year. My favorite memory of Rhys Hoskins when he slammed that bat against the Braves and just lighted up for the Phillies. I think Rhys Hoskins, for his time with the Phillies, I mean, he's with the Brewers now, which is a good organization, but just a bit sad with Rhys Hoskins. I kind of wish, but he wasn't putting up the stats that we all kind of wanted him to do, just decline year after year. And it was kind of time for us to get rid of Rhys Hoskins, but I'll miss him, especially off the field and on field. He was great. He had work in the community and home runs. All right, let's get into the pros. Yes, you got Bohm, Schwarber, and Stott right there, all excited because we're all excited of what we got. Because if you look at the past couple of years before Dave Dombrowski's come in, we have not had a great roster. We have not. We've been in the rebuilding stages, and that has not worked great for us. Outfield is a pro for us. Now, center field, that's questioned a bit, which that's going to be a weakness here because we don't know who's going to starter really for center field. It's not given. Where in right field and left field, you pretty much have Schwarber and Castellanos, but Schwarber and Castellanos might switch a little bit. But those are going to be pretty much your primary guys for your outfield. But overall, I think the outfield is fantastic. It's definitely one of the best in baseball where we got Nola, Wheeler, Suarez, Christopher Sanchez, Taijuan Walker. But Taijuan Walker, he didn't pitch much. Our starting rotation is still pretty good, and I really like that. Our infield is going to be a lot better this year. Trey Turner is going to have a bounce-back year, and I'm calling that, folks. He's going to have a bounce-back year. Third base, you got Alec Bohm right here, folks. Love the guy. Just love him. And then second base, you got Stott, another great player, folks. And then first base is going to be Bryce Harper. They made the announcement this offseason because he cannot throw the same that he used to be in the right field. So he's going to play first base, which he's done a pretty good job at playing first base defensively. So I like Harper playing first base a lot. Hitting, we all know what we get out of this team when we hit. We average almost 3 runs a game. Schwarbaum, Stott, Bohm, they always clutch up and do well for us. And you got Harper, Turner's going to bounce back, Marsh, all these other guys. We got unstoppable hitting, folks. Fortunately, it didn't happen for us in Game 7 of the NLCS, but it happened here, folks, most of the time. We get a lot of great runs and great offense from this team. Then to the bench, I think we still have a great bench. You got Stubbs, Marsh, you got speedy guys and can get on base too. So I like them if you need a pinch runner or pinch hit. These are some of the guys that can do it. Bullpen, I still think it's good for us despite the postseason. I still think it's good compared to the other years. Still think we got a solid bullpen. We got a couple guys that can close out. And Rob Thompson mentioned this offseason that he's going to have a committee bullpen like he did last year. He's not going to have a number one closer. He's just going to have a committee of different guys that could be put in. Like Jose Alvarado would be my most likely choice if it's going to be most of the time for closer, but they're going to switch up a little bit. And Rob likes to do that, and it's worked a lot of the time. So I don't mind that. Let's get into the weaknesses of this team. This team needs to be more consistent in scoring runs. Center field. Okay. So as I mentioned before, it's not already that nobody's given the job right off the bat. Johan Rojas is most likely to get the job at starting center field. Now, the things with him, he plays exceptional defense. He's one of the best defensive players on this team. However, his hitting has been terrible. If you look at when he got called up late in the year, he got the great hit. He got the walk-off hits for us. He got the walk-off hit to send the Phillies to the postseason. But in the postseason, he wasn't great. He kept having terrible swing by, like chopping at it, not being consistent. He was grounding out. It was terrible seeing Rojas. Now, I think he's also going to bounce back here. He's going to do a lot better. I think with Rojas, he got more builds from what I saw of like him working out a little bit. I think he's even more consistent. You see a little bit more power on his swings, so I think you're going to see a little bit more consistency with Rojas. I mean, it's going to switch here and there, but I think Rojas is leaning towards it a little bit, folks. If I had to guess, he's going to get the starting job there. Defense. Now that I've always mentioned, defense does not matter as long as you're making the routine plays. The only people that don't make the routine plays was Trey Turner, that cost the Phillies a game, but the Phillies bounced back and beat the Braves in that series, so it didn't hurt us too much. But you got to make the routine plays, the double plays, the ground balls. You just got to make the flyouts, but you're not going to make every catch all the time. As long as you can just make the routine plays and lessen the mistakes, improve the little things. Prospects. Now, when you're a winning team, you usually don't have a great minor league system because you usually trade most of your prospects for valuable players and assets like we did for JT Realmuto a couple years ago. But for the prospects, I think we're improving a little bit compared to years prior. We have some good pitching in the minor league system, and some names to be called up like Micah Bell, Andrew Painter, but Andrew Painter's out for the year because of Tommy John surgery. We could be seeing Griff McCrary. He could be coming up as a relief. Hitting-wise, I mean, we don't have that much hitting, guys, but we need the farm system to get a bit better because we have some guys on this team that have come from the farm system, like Bryson Stott, Alec Bohm, but most of the guys we just signed and traded for the whole time. Like Bryce Harper, we signed him. JT Realmuto, we traded for him. Signed Castellanos, signed Schwarber. Most of the guys were just from signing and trading for. So we got to improve the prospects a little bit so it becomes a little more cheaper and more assets we need. We need more assets that if we want to trade for players, that could be it for us. So we need that. And last but not least is another relief pitcher for the Phillies. I think, as I mentioned before, I think our bullpen's pretty good. I would just like another relief pitcher. Now, that could be Oren Kirkring, who could come replace it, which he did fantastic. I'm going to talk about in a little bit. But I think we just need one more guy, just like another guy, like for depth position wise. I think we just need one more. If we can get one more guy, I think our bullpen is fantastic and we can get the job done even more. Let's get into this Phillies lineup, which this is what I'm projecting it's going to be by looking at this. You got to have Kyle Schwarber number one, obviously. Every time the Phillies put him number one in the starting lineup, Phillies win a lot more times. I like Kyle Schwarber here, but to give you some stats about him, he's had 585 at-bats, and this is from last season. Scored 108 times, had 115 hits, 47 home runs. That's the second most from last year in MLB. Very crazy because Schwarber is known for his home runs. So Schwarbomb is his nickname. 104 RBIs, 126 walks, 215 strikeouts. Batting average, 197. Not great batting average. I mean, that determines how consistent you are, and Schwarber is a bit inconsistent, so that's why he has a lot of home runs. To see a little bit more improvement there, especially just to get above 200 at least. His on-base percentage was 343. He can get on base a lot, especially for the walks I just mentioned. His slugging percentage is 474. Now, we all know that because his home runs. His OPS is 817, which I find to be pretty good. His WAR is 0.7. I think that can improve a little bit, but I expect Schwarber to still be good. So he'll be batting number one. With Schwarber, DH, I think he's going to split between DH and left field. So we can see a couple switches here and there. That's what I'm going to say about that. And we'll get into more in this lineup here as we go. Batting second is Trey Turner, shortstop. Now, Trey Turner, he did not have the season that everyone thought he was going to have. He got the ovation from the Philly fans, and ever since then, he turned it up and did a lot better for the Phillies. So I'm expecting Trey Turner to have a better year. Better defense, more hits, more home runs, more stolen bases especially. So I think he's going to improve a lot. But to give you his stats from last year, He had 639 at-bats, scored 102 times, 170 hits, 26 home runs, 76 RBIs, 45 walks, 150 strikeouts, 30 stolen bases, 266 batting average, 320 on-base percentage, 459 slugging percentage, 778 OPS, 3.6 WAR. Number 2 spot, I think it fits him very well, folks. Batting number 3 in the lineup, folks, is your man, Bryce Harper. He's the leader on this team. He sets it for the Phillies, and one of my favorite players. I used to hate him because he was on the Nationals, and now I love the guy since he's with the Phillies. So it's fun to see there, folks. But Bryce Harper, he will be playing first base, already mentioned here, folks, because he cannot throw with his right arm like he used to. He can't throw that far like he used to. So he's been playing first base every day now, and he'll be switching like Schwarber with DH. He'll do a couple of DH here and there, but first base is going to be his normal position. Harper goes DH, then it's going to be Bohm, who's next on his list. I expect him to be a little bit better. Now, his home runs have not been the same as what we've seen the past couple seasons. I think it's going to improve because that was due to some injury, but I think he's going to improve a little bit. But to give you some stats here, he had 457 at-bats, scored 84 times, 134 hits, 21 home runs, 72 RBIs, 80 walks, 119 strikeouts, 11 stolen bases. I think the stolen base is going to go up a little bit, folks. 293 batting average, 401 on-base percentage, 499 slugging percentage, 900 OPS, 3.7 WAR. His on-base percentage is unstoppable because pitchers fear him. Whether it's going to be a home run, a hit, walk, he gets on base a lot. So Harper is fantastic. He likes to swing the heck out of it, to rip it, to go down the line when the pitch comes, if he's like feeling it, folks. He does it a lot, and I love that about Bryce Harper. He's very aggressive too, especially if you see his base running. He will not stop, especially I believe in the Braves-Phillies series from last year. He went from second to home, and our third base coach, Dusty Wathan, he told him to stop, and Harper literally just ignored him, and he went home and he made it. So very good job by Bryce Harper of aggressive. This team also especially is very aggressive too, but Bryce Harper leads the aggressiveness, folks. I will say that. Batting number 4 is Alec Bohm. Is playing third base for the Phillies. Been better the last couple seasons, especially, and I called him when he was going to have a better season. Like, I've been right the last 2 seasons of players who are going to bounce back years, but Bohm is one of those guys, and we're going to be getting to another guy who's right in a little bit here. But Alec Bohm has been better. He does better, especially. I like him in the 4th spot too. I mean, he can be in the 5th spot to switch it up. I prefer that for our next guy. Just makes it a little bit better. But Bohm can do well. It just need to see a little bit more consistency from him. But looking at his stats, he had 556 at-bats, scored 74 times, 153 hits, 20 home runs, 97 RBIs, 42 walks, 94 strikeouts, 4 stolen bases, 274 batting average, 327 on-base percentage, 437 slugging percentage, 765 OPS, 0.5 WAR. I think his on-base percentage needs to increase a little bit more. Get to see a little bit more production from this guy. I need to see a little bit more from him. But I think overall, Alec Bohm's going to have a good season. We saw for the Phillies, especially third base, because this defense has definitely been a lot better than what we've seen because, like Trey Turner, he did not have a great defense as shortstop. He wasn't a great defensive player. Bohm is not a great defensive player either, but he's done a bit better. Better just getting the clean ground balls, throwing them out, and making great throws. Number 5, which I consider this guy the best catcher in baseball right now, folks, and that is JT Realmuto. He can throw guys out if they're trying to steal. He's very agility. Now, most catchers are not that great of throwing out runners, trying to go second, third base once in a while, and being very productive on offense. Because most catchers are not very productive on offense. They're not that productive. But JT is, and I really like that about him. When we traded for him, I was so stoked, and that trade has been a steal for the Phillies. JT's been an awesome player for the Phillies. And giving you statistics here for him, folks, he had 489 at-bats, scored 70 times, 123 hits, 20 home runs, 63 RBIs, 35 walks, 138 strikeouts, 16 stolen bases, 252 batting average, 310 on-base percentage, 452 slugging percentage, 762 OPS, 3.6 WAR. Now, with JT, he helped the Phillies out a lot, especially when the Phillies were like going through losing streaks and going through bad times. JT was the hot hand. Now, when the Phillies were doing bad last season and going through tough stretches of losing, JT was the hot hand. He put up a lot of good production for the Phillies. He helped them try to win some ball games, did help us win a couple here and there. But JT, he's putting the production, and he keeps continuing at it. He's not stopping. I mean, he's getting older a little bit, but he's still being great. He's still producing pretty good for the Phillies. I think personally, I would put him 4 if I were Rob Thompson, because I love production of JT, because I think JT produces more than Alec Bohm. So I would want 1, 2, 3, and then Realmuto and Bohm switch stats. Number 6, Bryson Stott, your second baseman, folks. Now, he reminds me of Chase Utley a little bit. Defensively, he's pretty good. Stott's hitting, I mean, it's still pretty good, especially in the lower part of the lineup. He's the one that carries the Phillies. Like, if the top of the part of the lineup is not doing great, which it should be doing great, and that was a problem for the Phillies a couple times where the top of the lineup was not doing pretty good. The lower half of the lineup, he was the leader for that, folks. He was helping the Phillies score runs, being productive, and get on base a lot. Like, Stott's hitting is done phenomenal, and he reminds me a bit of Chase Utley. Not the home runs per se, but his speed, defense, and kind of the swing too, and how he swings at the bat. Just reminds me of Chase Utley, and I love that. So just give me another Chase Utley 2.0. I love that. But to give you some stats about Bryson Stott, he had 585 at-bats, scored 78 times, 164 hits, 15 home runs, 62 RBIs, 39 walks, 100 strikeouts, 31 stolen bases. Yes, I told you, folks. This team is very aggressive, and he has good speed, too. 280 batting average, 329 on-base percentage, 419 slugging percentage, 747 OPS, and a 4.4 WAR. He's producing, and I think he's going to take another step up, folks. And I just love that Bryson Stott. He always likes to take on challenges and always succeeds at them every time. So I think Stott's going to be a big part of the Phillies lineup this year. Number 7, Nick Castellanos, playing right field. And I mentioned before he might be doing DH a little bit, like once in a while there if they want to switch it up once in a bit. But Nick Castellanos, he's had a bounce back year. I was the person who called it last year doing this video. I called it about Nick Castellanos. I was 1 home run short of calling his home runs. He had 29 home runs. I called 30 home runs. I was so close. But good prediction by me. And Nick Castellanos has done a lot better. Ever since the Phillies were in the postseason 2 years ago, when he played against the Braves in that series, he did a lot better because during that whole up to that time, when he came from the Phillies up to that Braves series, was completely terrible. Philly fans wanted him to be gone, traded, get rid of him. What a terrible signing. Oh, it looks like the Sixers Tobias Harris, which, yeah, that Tobias Harris hasn't worked out for the Sixers. But going back to the Phillies, Nick Castellanos has done a lot better. He's been more clutch. He had the key throw in foul territory and threw out the runner at home during a regular season game. So I think Castellanos is still taking a step up. The problem, though, with Castellanos, and this is the thing that always annoys most Phillies fans, he swings at the first pitch. Now I get if you want to swing at the ball, if it's going to look good and everything, most of the first pitches are down the dirt, way outside, and he swings at every time. Like, can you just be patient? Because when this guy's patient, he does a lot better. If he's patient, I get he's trying to be aggressive. I get he wants to do that. I get you, Nick. But if you're patient just a little bit, work the count a little like Bryce Harper, you're going to do so well. And I could see you go from 7 and go up to 4 and switch without them because they did that last year a couple times. Nick has got to learn his role. He just got to do a little bit better in offense. He does a good job this past couple seasons in rebounding. Definitely. If he's just patient and can work the count, he can do a lot better and boom, win Phillies games and get more production for the Phillies. That's what I need to see out of Nick Castellanos. But I like Nick. I like him personally, but he just got to get the job done. But to give you some stats about Nick Castellanos, 626 at-bats, scored 79 times, 170 hits, 29 home runs. Yeah, I already mentioned that. 106 RBIs, 36 walks, 185 strikeouts. He strikes out a lot too, folks. It's terrible the way he strikes out. It looks like he's going for a golf swing out there, folks. It's terrible. 11 stolen bases, 272 batting average, 311 on base percentage, 476 slugging percentage, 788 OPS. Just need to see a little bit more production out of the guy. If you can do that for me, Nick, I'll love it. Just give me a little bit more production, and you're right there. Like, you did fantastic in the Brave series and then did nothing in the Diamondback series. I want that Brave series, Nick Castellanos. Give me him. Then going number 8 is Brandon Marsh, who I have in left field currently because, as I mentioned, Schwarber's going to switch spots here and there. I think Schwarber's going to lean left field, but DH-wise, it really depends. So I'm going if Schwarber's DH, which I think is going to be most of the time because Schwarber does not have the legs to do it. Marsh has good speed and good defense, so I'm going to put him left field here for now. Brandon Marsh, he reminds me of Jason Worth a lot. He reminds me of the beard. I mean, he's got the drip. Like, I still don't know how he does the drip of, like, wet hair and how he does it. It just, I don't get it. But with Brandon Marsh, he's very good base runner. and can get a couple hits here and there. Like, he was clutch a couple times last season, and he had the key home run in the Braves series 2 years ago in the playoffs to help the Phillies go in the next round. I mean, Brandon Marsh, he's a good bench guy, but he's more of a starter, and he can be switching with center field too a little bit with Rojas. I mean, Brandon Marsh is another versatile guy. I like him a bit. I really like his character. He's a fun guy to watch him play. Just awesome to see him. But to give you some stats about him, folks, he had 404 at-bats, scored 58 times, 112 hits, 12 home runs, 60 RBIs, 59 walks, 144 strikeouts, 10 stolen bases. That's going to increase a little bit more, I will say. 277 batting average, 372 on base percentage. He can get on base, folks. Work the count and just get on base. 458 slugging percentage, 829 OPS, and a 3.4 WAR. So he's consistent on getting base. Just needs to be a little bit more consistent at the batting average. I mean, a lot of people say batting average is a little bit overrated. For me, it really determines how consistent you are. If you could just be a little bit more consistent, and I'll take that from Brandon Marsh, just be a little more consistent. But on base percentage, keep that up, man. Just keep that up. That's what I need from you. Just get on base. And then to round out number 9, last spot in the Phillies lineup batting order is Johan Rojas, playing center field. I already mentioned Johan Rojas, great defense. I get that. But this kid needs to hit, because we saw in that playoff series for the Phillies, he was not a great hit. Chopping at it, his bunting was not doing great, his working account was awful, it was just a whole mess. It was a whole mess, and we need to see a different Johan Rojas, which this kid has great speed. If he can just get on base, I would love that, because then you got Schwarber up next, and Schwarber can Schwarbomb you in. Get the 2-for-1 deal here, Johan Rojas. Just get it in. Just get it in, Johan Rojas. But to give you some stats about him, folks, 149 at-bats, scored 24 times, 45 hits, 2 home runs, 23 RBIs, 5 walks, 42 strikeouts, 14 stolen bases, 302 batting average, 342 on-base percentage, 430 slugging percentage, 771 OPS, 2.4 WAR. He's got to be clutch here and there too, folks. Especially the bases are loaded, he's got to drive in runs too. That's another thing by Johan Rojas. Need to see a different man out. Need to see a different hitting approach for this guy. And then to head to starting rotation, which I don't think this is the thing that I saw, because there's a couple free agents the Phillies could get, and I just don't see it, given the Phillies' budget of the luxury tax, and I think they're fine where they are. I mean, it's one of the best starting rotations. We re-signed Nola and Wheels, I mentioned before. Got Walker. Hopefully he'll be healthy, because I think he'll be healthy. And I also forgot to mention, but yeah, I really like this lineup a lot with Aaron Nola, Zach Wheeler, who's the best pitcher in my opinion, but Nola does pretty good when he's the number 1 guy. Walker, number 3 spot, I think is still good. Ranger Suarez, Ranger, love to see some Ranger. He's been pretty good ever since he's come out of the bullpen Phillies. He's become a very good starter for the Phillies. And Cristobal Sanchez, it's not bad for a 5th starter. He's not bad. He's supposed to be like just be a little bit above average guy. And I think Cristobal Sanchez can get the job done once in a while here and there. But I really like him a bit as 5th guy. But if we need to like get somebody from the minor league system, we have guys ready. We have Griff ready. We got Michael Bell ready. Richard Painter, he'll be coming up in a little bit. But I think we got a couple guys that are going to be pretty good for the Phillies. But to give you some stats about these guys here. Aaron Nola, 12-9, 4.46 ERA, 1.15 WHIP, pitched 193.2 innings, 202 strikeouts, 178 hits, gave up 32 home runs, 96 earned runs, averaged 9.4 strikeouts per 9 innings per start, had 96.5 pitches per start too, folks, is what he was averaging. And now, Aaron Nola, he's known for his strikeouts, but the problem was his home runs. He would just give up home runs. 32 home runs he gave up and 96 earned runs. That's about 1/3 of earned runs. If he does not give that up, the Phillies would have won a lot more games. He just needs to improve on that. Zach Wheeler, also another good strikeout guy and has been considered Cy Young so many times. Should have won it 1 year. He's just been a phenomenal pitcher. Ever since the Phillies got him, we extended him. But stats about him, 13-6 record, pitched 192 innings, gave up 168 hits, 77 earned runs, 39 walks, struck out 212, averaging 9.9 strikeouts per his starts, folks, and 91.5 pitches per start too, folks, if that's what he's averaging. 2.5 WAR, had a 1.31 WHIP and a 4.38 ERA, averaging 98.6 pitches per start, had a 4.2 WAR, 1.08 WHIP, and a 3.61 ERA. Fantastic to see out of this guy. I think his ERA just needs to go down a little bit more, but Zach Wheeler is Hot Wheels. Hot Wheels. I love this guy. I love him a lot, especially when he's on the mound for the Phillies. One of my favorites. Taijuan Walker. He did not pitch in the postseason. He is record, folks. 15-6. Pitched 172.2 innings. Gave up 155 hits. 84 earned runs, 20 home runs, 71 walks, through 138 strikeouts, 7.2 strikeouts per 9 innings, 91.5 pitches per start, 2.5 WAR, 1.31 WHIP, 4.38 ERA. That's a definite improvement you need to see there. You need to see that go down a bit. Ranger Suarez got hurt a bit in the season, so 4-6, 125 innings, gave up 129 hits, 58 earned runs, 13 home runs, 48 walks, through 119 strikeouts, average 8.6 strikeouts per start, through 92 pitches per start on average, 2.4 WAR, 1.42 WHIP, and a 4.18 ERA. Again, just needs to go down a little bit from Ranger Suarez because he can pitch shutouts. And I really like that about Ranger Suarez. He can, and he's a fantastic player. Once again, he very stepped up in the postseason. Just need to see a little bit decrease on the ERA. Just see a little decrease on the ERA. And then to round out, we got Christopher Sanchez, which Christopher Sanchez, I think, can do fine for the fifth spot, as I already mentioned. Gave 88 hits, 38 earned runs, 16 home runs, 16 walks, through 96 strikeouts, 8.7 strikeouts per start, average 80.6 pitches per start, 1.05 WHIP, and a 3.44 ERA. Again, I think Christopher Sanchez, he just needs to be a little more consistent out of this guy. I mean, 3.44 ERA is not bad for fifth starter in the rotation. Overall, I think this starting rotation is pretty good, and I'm excited to see the starting rotation once again this year. I think it's going to be pretty good for the Phillies. Then that's the bullpen. Once again, I think this bullpen is solid. It just needs to add one more depth piece, and we're good. Jose Alvarado, I think, is going to be the main guy, technically. I love Jose Alvarado. He's got the energy. I love his passion. His passion is what sells me about him. He just has that motivation and just gets the job done. Hoffman, another solid guy. Dominguez, I mean, he's inconsistent. There will be years where he'll be very good and look like one of the best closers, and there's other years where he looks terrible. This is what we need to find out. How consistent is this guy? Soto, I really like him a bit. I think he's doing fine with the Phillies. I think he'll do another step. Oren, I love this kid. When he came from the Phillies getting called up, he performed well. Pitched in the postseason his rookie season, which is unheard of for most rookie pitchers. Got the job done. I would not be surprised to see Oren close out games. I would not be surprised. He could be the 8th and 9th guy I could see in the inning-wise. Pitch in the 8th or the 9th, that could be Oren's. And Matt Strum to round it out here. I mean, just another great pitcher. I really like him. He has great stuff. But the use of stats about these guys. And some of these guys are hurt, so I'm just going to let you know. Jose Alvarado had 0-2 record, 10 saves, 41.1 innings, gave up 30 hits, 8 earned runs, 3 home runs, 18 walks, 64 strikeouts, 1.16 WHIP, and a 1.74 ERA. That's unheard of. That's pretty good. Jeff Hoffman, 5-2 record, 1 save, 52.1 innings, 29 hits, 14 earned runs, 3 home runs, 19 walks, 69 strikeouts, 0.92 WHIP, 2.41 ERA. That's still pretty good for a reliever. Dominguez, 5-5 record, 2 saves, 50 innings, 48 hits he gave up, 21 earned runs, 7 home runs, 22 walks. Just need to see a consistent good stuff out of Dominguez. Just need to see out of him. 48 strikeouts, 1.4 WHIP, a 3.78 ERA. That's a bit bad, and we need to see improvement from there. Soto, 3-4 record, 3 saves, 60.1 innings, gave up 47 hits, 31 earned runs, 6 home runs, 22 walks, through 65 strikeouts, 1.14 WHIP, 4.62 ERA. I think his ERA is getting a bit better. He had one bad outing. That's what caused it a bit, folks, but he'll have a lot better ERA from that. Oren. Now, his stats, he didn't pitch much, so I'm going to give you some stats about him. 1-0 record, 3 innings he pitched. In the 3 innings he pitched, 2 hits he gave up, 0 earned runs, 0 home runs, 2 walks, 6 strikeouts, 1.33 WHIP, and a 0 ERA. I really think this kid, and this is from his regular season stats, folks, I think he's going to step it up a bit, and he's going to be closing some games like Jose Alvarado is. I think that's going to be position. 8th, 9th, as I already mentioned, that's going to be his position. Matt Strom, 9-5 record, 2 saves, 87.2 innings, 68 hits, 32 earned runs, 11 home runs, 21 walks, 108 strikeouts he threw, 1.02 WHIP, and a 3.29 ERA. Again, I think this bullpen is pretty good. Just need one more guy. Just need that because they got to replace Craig Kimbrell somehow. And Oren could be the guy to replace Craig. Now, what does this team need to do to go back to rosters? I already mentioned about the lineups. I already mentioned the weakness. And we're approaching the weaknesses right here, folks. Fix the defense. Just make the routine plays. Harper, He's making the routine plays. Turner, you gotta make the routine plays a bit more. Just fix the little things, and you're gonna do fine. Consistency, just consistent. I love the aggressiveness from watching this team. Just be consistent. Get better prospects. Well, we just need to improve the farm system a little bit. Get some couple guys here and there. They could be helping us at different positions because some of these guys are getting old, and we only got a couple years with these guys because they're gonna be old and they're gonna be declining a bit. So we got to have the farm system ready for the Phillies to still keep it going. If they all do that, you win the World Series, guys. But folks, that will do it here for this video. If you like this video, leave a like, subscribe to the channel. If you want more content for this channel, particularly on Philly sports of what I cover in Jimmy House Philly Sports World. And if you want to go on the main channel, that's my football and the Packers, folks. So if you want to check that out, please do so. But let me hear your thoughts, guys. How do you think the Phillies are going to do? You think they're going to win 162 games? Maybe one crazy fan's going to say that in the comments section here, but that's not happening, folks. That's not happening. Do you like the lineup? Do you like the bullpen, starting rotation? Do you think the Phillies need to add another guy, get rid of somebody? What would you do if you were in Dave Dombrowski's shoes? Leave that in the chat, folks. But that's a wrap for this video, folks. We will see you next time. Have a great day. Baseball is back, baby. Let's go, Phillies. Bring home the World Series, baby. Let's go.